Hi everyone, it's Mari here for Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to be creating this card for you today using the gorgeous bold background pumpkin patch die set from Honeybee. This is a large die set that includes this gorgeous background die and the coordinating pumpkins and leaves. I'm going to start off here by adding some color to my die cuts. I'm going to colorize the pumpkins with Distress Spritz peacock feathers. So I've got the pumpkins or some of the pumpkins in my splat box here. I'm just going to spray them with the peacock feather spritz, and they just look so cool when it's dried. The spritz is really fun because it doesn't completely cover. It just kind of adds a little bit of splatter color, which I really love. It just creates a really cool effect. Now, these pumpkins go together so easily, and the little layering guide that comes along with this die set when you get it shows you how to layer all of the pumpkins and leaves and so on onto the background, and of course how to layer these pumpkins together. They go together super easily. You just simply start with the largest layer and add the next smallest layer on top, and then you voila, end up with this really gorgeous pumpkin. I did die cut out the tops for the pumpkins from some brown cardstock, and I just added a little bit of adhesive there for the top of the pumpkin and then placed that into place with my Honeybee reverse tweezers. So I really like how that spritz looks on that white cardstock. I'm also using the peeled paint Distress Spritz for the leaves. So again, I've put the leaves into my splat box. I'll just go ahead and spritz those. I do use my heat tool to dry these so that they dry a little bit faster. And again, you can just see how that spritz just adds that really cool little bit of color. Now, this is the background for that die set that I've die cut from some gray cardstock. And now I'm just going to take all of the leaves and I'm going to put some adhesive onto the back and adhere those onto the bold background base. And you just have to follow the shapes of the leaves here and add those over top of the coordinating shape. And I'm starting with the leaves because you'll notice that some of the leaves go over top of the pumpkin areas, and I want my leaves to be behind my pumpkins. If you wanted your leaves to be on top of your pumpkins, you could definitely adhere them in that way, but I feel like the leaves are more flat and less dimensional than the pumpkins, so it just makes sense to me to put the leaves behind the pumpkins. So I started with my leaves. I'm getting them all in place here, and now you can see what that looks like when all of the leaves are layered onto the background. So loving how that's looking. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put all of the pumpkins that I have adhered together. So the two largest ones go in the two corners diagonal from each other there. And now I'll just go ahead and add all of the smaller pumpkins onto the coordinating spaces. Now again, that layering guide that is provided with the packaging for this die set does show you how these different pumpkins are layered and placed onto that base. Really super easy to do. And I love the different shapes and sizes of these pumpkins. And what's wrong with the blue pumpkin, right? I think blue pumpkins are perfect. Now, you can just see how gorgeous this is when it's placed onto a white background. And I really wanted a white background today, but I wanted something with texture. So this is the Fall Leaves 3D embossing folder from Honeybee. It's an older embossing folder in the collection, but it's just beautiful. I love it. It's one of my faves, and it's super great for fall. So I've just taken that through my embossing and die cutting machine and embossed that onto a piece of A2 size cardstock for my card front. I've adhered that down onto my white top folding card base. And now I'm just going to put some foam squares on the back of my background here. And that's just going to give my background a little bit more dimension on that embossed background. So I'll just go ahead and finish that off. I'll take the release paper off of those squares and then add that onto my card front for this beautiful card front finish. Now this sentiment set is called Blessings of Fall. It is just a really gorgeous sentiment set. I love the fonts. I love the sentiments that are part of this set. I think they're beautiful. I feel like that's one of the many things that Honeybee does super well is their sentiment sets. They're always wonderful. Now I have die cut that 3 times, the sentiment that I'm using here, which says there's always something to be thankful for. I've die cut it 3 times, and on one of the die cuts I have stamped that sentiment, in black, and I'm going to just go ahead and adhere those together so that my sentiment is a little bit more dimensional in that way. I'm just using my Honeybee liquid adhesive to glue those together. And I did also put a little bit of foam adhesive onto the back. Now, this is just a little bit of ribbon that I have in my collection, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie that onto the front of my card, and then I'll add the sentiment just slightly above. And I'll just kind of zhuzh that ribbon a little bit so that the bow is a little bit off to the left, and then the sentiment is just slightly above and a bit over to the right to finish my card. Friends, I have linked up in the description box to all of the different products that I've used today for this pretty little card. And I love that you can make these die cuts any color that you want and totally personalize this project for your cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I will see you again very soon right here on the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel. Bye, friends.